This episode is brought to you by SmartVestor. Connect with an investing pro near you at RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor.
David is in Indianapolis. Hi, David. How are you?
Good, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Long story short, I just checked my my statements from my financial advisor last month been the first time in a couple months. Anyway, looking at them, it only looks like I've seen about 7% growth this year, and I was wondering if I should fire him and look for someone else.
What does he have you invested in? Do you know?
It's supposed to be aggressive growth, supposedly. As far as the individual funds, I'm not 100% sure on. I just figured this out on Friday.
Have you contacted him and asked any questions?
I haven't. I did not ask about the retirement. I did contact him to figure out why. This is another issue. My deposits I made into my money market account were not being actually used, and they were just sitting there not gaining interest either.
Oh, gosh. You had money in your money market account that he has access to that he's supposed to pull each month money from to invest, and he's not done that.
Okay.
Correct.
There's a couple things wrong with the equation. All right. You probably should fire him, but not for the reasons that you're saying. You're griping about the rate of return, and you don't even know what the mutual fund is. It's your responsibility to know what that is. Your financial advisor's job is not to babysit you. Their job is to teach you, and you make your decisions. And then, if you don't like the returns, it's due to your choices. But you don't even know what's going on. You just toss the money over the fence and hope he handled it well. And that's a good way to lose everything.
So I guess my next question would be, is that something, so I paid somewhat close attention to the market, listen to you guys, listen to other financial podcasts. What kind of opened my eyes to was I seen that the S&P 500 has grown 14.5%, something like that this year.
17, yeah.
17.
And you made 7, so something screwed up. Yeah, I agree with you, something screwed up. But here's my point, okay? I do not have any mutual funds with my financial advisor that I didn't choose. Not because I'm Dave Ramsey, but because that's what we teach people to do. Your financial advisor's job is to be a teacher and say, here's some things you could do. Here's the historical data on this mutual fund, and it's one I might look at if I were you. And you go, yeah, I like that, and I'm going to make the choice to make the purchase based on having been informed. And then if it doesn't perform, I made the choice, not him. And it was just a miss, okay? Because you picked some funds that didn't even keep, if they're aggressive growth, they ought to be outperforming the S&P on substantially. Unless there's some kind of, I don't know what you picked, but I mean, you could be in all kinds of sector funds or something else. I don't know what you got into. But I want you to know what you're doing. And so, like, this is the way, you hear these sports figures that lose everything. Like they make $10 million and then they're broke or something. It's because they turn it over to some guy and go, my guy's handling it, and then they don't even look at it. And it turns out in that case, the guy's a scam artist or whatever, or he's a doofus, one of the two. I mean, I think the guy just handed you some mutual funds, half looked at them, you half looked at them, and y'all chose poorly is what it sounds like. So what I want him to do is to take up a new position if you're going to keep him, probably wouldn't. And that to be the heart of a teacher. And what I want you to do is not look for a babysitter, but have the heart of a student.
And he should be presenting you with these ideas too, right? I mean, this is why you hire someone, is to do it and to show you and to give you options. Like that's what our advisor does. It's like, here's.
But then you know what it is. Yeah, you know exactly what it is.
So I guess that's, what's my biggest question for him, I guess, would be what's the benefit of paying you when I can open an account on Vanguard, Schwab, whatever, and just throw it in a S&P 500.
Yeah, you can go buy a Vanguard S&P and throw it all in there, and you made 17%. That's called passive investing. Okay, that's called passive investing.
What I'm paying him to do.
Yeah, well, no, what you're paying him to do is to show you mutual funds that are outperforming the S&P. And then you decide if you think they're going to continue to do that. I buy mutual funds through my investment advisor. There's 8,000 mutual funds. I mean, I grew up in this stuff, and I'm not going to comb through all that crap. That drives me nuts. Okay, I'm not that big a nerd. So I call him up. I'm like, hey, find me 4 funds in this category that are outpacing the S&P, and because I want to put some money in that area. And or in the case of you follow the Ramsey recommendations for your 401k, put a fourth in growth, a fourth in aggressive growth, a fourth in a foreign fund or an international fund, and a fourth in growth and income. We put a fourth in each in my retirement, and I want all three of those to, over a 10-year period of time or longer, to have an outperformed the S&P.
Yeah.
And they're hard to find, but you can find them. They're not, if they've got the software to pull that up, and they pull up 3 or 4 and we look at them together. We go, okay, which ones of these do we think? We talk about it together, and then we make the choice together. I'm not paying him to be a stock picker.
Okay.
I'm paying him to help me manage my money.
Yeah. And also, a great financial advisor is looking at more than just your 401k and your investments. They're looking over your entire financial portfolio. They're looking at your house, taxes, they're able to look at everything. And I think that's where I see the benefit, is having everything in one place. Now, yeah, is the Vanguard option there? Absolutely. But I would even bring that to a financial advisor, say, I have this over here with me, put that in my portfolio so I can look at the whole picture, right? So I don't know, ours has helped us, do things that I'm like, oh, well, that's creative. I didn't think to go here and here. And they know about, whether it's, loopholes or ways to invest, and it's great.
But they didn't call you up and tell you they did it.
No.
They call you up and say, here's an idea. You all understand the idea, and then do we implement the idea?
Yes, but there is
and whether it's a mutual fund purchase or whether it's a tax move or whatever it is.
But David, a lot of people
look for people to manage your money. You manage your money with the help of an advisor, and yes, you can outperform the market if you do that.
Okay, can I tell you, though, there's a lot of that, of what David just said, moving right now in people aren't wanting financial advisors. They're just wanting to go and invest themselves, opening a Vanguard. That's what a lot of people are feeling.
Well, the S&P 500, the Bogleheads have been around forever. Okay, that's not new.
No, I know it's not new, but I'm saying more and more people are not the traditional, hey, I'm going to go and I need a financial advisor to get me in this space.
You don't need one to get you in the space. You need one to maximize the space.
That's it. Well, that's what I'm saying, though, is that it's more, I'm hearing more and more people
that have a financial advisor have a higher likelihood of staying in when the news when Trump burps and the market goes down. They stay in, and the people that stay in are the ones that make money, and they have a higher probability of picking better mutual funds because they're learning. Your SmartVestor Pro on RamseySolutions.com has to have the heart of a teacher, or we won't put him in Ramsey Trusted. We won't put him in there, or her in there, okay? And so, and most of them make a percentage of the amount under management is what they get, usually 1% or so. That's about what they get paid. And so they need to be doing something that outperforms by 1% the market. Otherwise, they're not worth their money,
that's right,
so to speak. So, you get in that. But you can. It's the Bogle started Vanguard, and they're called Bogleheads. And his premise was correct. He was a genius. Was that the S&P 500 outperforms more than half of the mutual funds. So if you just blindly go pick a mutual fund, you'd have been better off to pick the S&P 500 index, was his point.
Yeah.
And that's why he started a no commission, no load S&P 500 at Vanguard, and it's the famous thing in the stock market history. And so people that say, I'm not going to think about this, I'm just going to dump it into S&P 500, and I'll at least make what the stock market makes, and I'll outperform more than 50% of the mutual funds by doing that.
Yeah.
Those are called Bogleheads, okay? And they're not new just because TikTok came along.
No, I'm not saying they're new. I'm just saying I'm hearing it more and more. People have the access to it.
I've heard Dave Ramsey's a crook for 35 years because I told people not to do that and go pay a commission to outperform Bogleheads. And Dave Ramsey's not a crook. I'm a genius.
Yes, you are.
Thanks for tuning in to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires. Need help with your investments? Connect with a SmartVestor Pro at RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor or click the link in the show notes. Ramsey Solutions is a paid non-client promoter of participating pros. Learn more at RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor.